Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we'll be going in depth on the Stargate Project.
Yes.
This is a really big AI initiative.
It is. It is. Yeah, just announced this week.
Yeah, so let's dive right in.
Yeah.
$500 billion.
Yeah, huge.
Investment.
Unprecedented.
Massive data centers planned.
Yes.
They're promising 100,000 new jobs.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as with any huge project like this, there's always another side to the story, right?
Yeah.
Like, what about the energy demands?
Oh, for sure.
And the carbon footprint. So
Okay.
for this deep dive, we're looking at an essay by Jörg-Owe.
Okay.
And he really digs into the goals of the project, you know, how it fits in with global sustainability. And he's got some really interesting stats about AI's carbon footprint.
Yeah, very timely.
So are you ready to kind of explore this AI behemoth?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's dive in.
Okay, great. Let's start with the sheer scale of this thing.
Yeah.
We're talking about one of the biggest AI infrastructure projects ever.
Absolutely. Yeah. To give you a sense of the size, it's 20 data centers.
Oh, wow.
Each one 500,000 square feet. Massive.
It's hard to even imagine.
Yeah.
And then you've got all the big players involved: OpenAI, SoftBank, Oracle, MGX.
All the big names. Yeah.
It's a who's who of tech.
Yeah.
What I find really interesting is the timing of this announcement.
Yeah.
You know, it seems tied in with President Trump's push for energy independence and his whole, you know, America first, we got to be top dog in tech.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Snaphat, he actually talks about this in his essay, this idea of an energy race.
Okay.
And that the project, you know, it's not just about AI itself, it's also about boosting U.S. energy production.
So it's sort of a twofer for the administration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And plus there's the economic angle too, right?
Yeah.
Potentially 100,000 new jobs.
Yeah, 100,000 jobs. That's incredible. But where are all these skilled workers going to come from?
Yeah. It makes you wonder, right? I mean, AI is a pretty specialized field. Snaphat brings up this very point. Workforce readiness.
Uh-huh.
It's a major challenge.
Yeah.
It's going to take a huge effort to train and upskill people to actually meet this demand.
Yeah.
We need people ready for this AI-driven economy.
Yeah, it seems like there needs to be some collaboration between the Stargate Project and education.
Oh, absolutely. Huge need for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just about building the tech.
Right.
We've got to build the talent pipeline too.
The people.
Yeah, people, exactly. Now, beyond the economics and the tech, they're talking a lot about sustainability too.
Okay.
Trying to frame this project as a way to actually help meet the goals of the Paris Agreement.
So are they saying they can balance the impact of these massive data centers with sustainability?
That's the idea. And it ties into this whole bigger trend.
Okay.
ESG, environmental, social, and governance.
Okay.
Investors, consumers, everyone's holding companies accountable for their environmental impact.
Yeah, for sure. So how is the Stargate Project planning to achieve this sustainable AI idea?
It comes down to carbon-aware computing. As Snaphat explains, you've got to design computing processes to minimize their carbon footprint.
Okay.
Think energy-efficient hardware, optimize algorithms, and of course, renewable energy to power those data centers.
So it's more than just building green data centers. It's about making the AI systems themselves sustainable.
Precisely. What's fascinating is that AI can actually optimize AI for sustainability.
Oh, wow.
For example, imagine using AI to choose cloud regions with lower carbon intensity when you're training your models. Or there are tools like the Electricity Maps API.
Okay.
Shows you the energy mix in different regions, so you can pick locations that use more renewable.
So AI helping us make AI greener. That's meta.
It is. Right. It's a potential positive feedback loop. Google's working on this too.
Okay.
They have Carbon Footprint Insights, which lets companies monitor their cloud emissions, and a carbon intelligent computing platform. It predicts carbon intensity for scheduling tasks, so resources are allocated more efficiently.
So it's like AI is both part of the problem and indeed the solution.
Absolutely.
We're using AI to tackle its own environmental impact.
Exactly. And we've got to get this right, because even with all these efforts, AI still has a big carbon footprint.
Right.
All that energy it takes to train these models, all those data centers, it all adds up to some serious CO2 emissions.
Snaphat mentions this study. Training a large transformer model could produce the same lifetime emissions as 5E cars.
Yeah, it's a powerful image, right?
Yeah.
Now, there is some variability, of course. Another study found emissions equivalent to, like, 0.00004 cars.
Wow.
The carbon footprint depends on a bunch of factors. how they train it, the hardware, how efficient the data center is.
Okay.
But the point is, we can't ignore the potential environmental impact.
No.
So with projects like Stargate that are really accelerating AI development, we have to prioritize sustainability and minimize that footprint.
That's what Schneepat is advocating for.
Yeah.
He says corporations need to be transparent and accountable.
Exactly. He points to the growing trend of corporate sustainability reporting.
Okay.
More and more companies are disclosing their emissions, including the emissions from their AI and data centers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Research shows 79% of the top 100 companies are already doing this.
So there's definitely a growing awareness of the need to track and manage these emissions.
Yeah.
But how does this tie back to the Paris Agreement? The goal of limiting global temperatures rise.
The Stargate Project claims it's aligned with the Paris Agreement.
Okay.
They're saying they're using sustainable practices, renewable energy, carbon-aware computing, all that.
Okay.
They're arguing that it can actually contribute to those global climate targets.
It's a pretty big claim. I guess we'll see how they deliver.
Yeah, for sure. This gets to the core question that Schneepat poses. Can we actually harness the power of AI responsibly and sustainably?
Especially with projects like Stargate accelerating its development.
Exactly. It's something to think about.
Definitely. We'll be right back after a quick break to explore more of the insights from Jörg-Owe Schneepat's essay.
Schneepat, he makes this really interesting point in his essay about this inherent tension, right?
Right.
With AI, it has the potential to solve these huge global problems, climate change being one of them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it could actually make those problems worse because it's using more energy, more emissions. It's growing so fast.
Yeah, it's kind of like AI is a double-edged sword.
Exactly.
I can do good, but we need to be careful.
We do. We really do. And Schneepat, he's really emphasizing this. It's not just about making green data centers.
Right.
We have to think bigger, design AI systems that are efficient and carbon conscious from the very beginning. It's a whole new way of thinking for everybody, not just the tech people, policymakers, investors, the public, everyone.
So it's more of a systemic challenge than just a technology challenge.
Exactly. But Schneepat also says AI can be a force for positive change in other areas too.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he talks about how AI can actually help us reduce emissions in general, right?
He does. He actually cites research that suggests AI could lead to like a 5% to 10% reduction globally.
Okay.
It's huge, like 2.6 to 5.3 gigatons of CO2.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
How would that work? How could AI cut emissions like that?
Well, there are a lot of different ways Schneepat talks about using AI to optimize energy grids, make them more efficient, less reliant on fossil fuels. It could even help us develop new materials, new manufacturing processes that are less carbon intensive.
So using AI to basically make everything we do smarter and more sustainable.
Boy, but even with all those potential benefits, we still have to deal with AI's own carbon footprint.
Right.
How do we balance those competing factors?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right?
It is. And Schneepat doesn't shy away from that. He's clear that AI isn't a silver bullet.
Right.
It's a powerful tool, but it's not going to solve every problem.
So it's more about using AI strategically as part of a bigger, broader approach to climate change.
Yes, exactly. And it also means understanding that AI development, the way we use it, has to be guided by ethics and a commitment to sustainability.
Right.
It's not just about the tech itself.
Yeah, it's about the values behind it.
Exactly. Which brings us back to the Stargate Project.
Yeah.
It's this huge, ambitious project with the potential to really change the world, but it comes with a big responsibility, too.
I think Schneepat really captures that in his essay.
He does.
The opportunities and the challenges of this massive AI initiative.
It's a reminder for all of us. As we push the boundaries with technology, we can't forget about the impact on our planet and our society.
Schneepat also brings up the idea of carbon pricing.
Yes.
He argues that putting a price on carbon could encourage companies to reduce their footprint.
Yeah.
And he thinks AI could help them do it cost-effectively.
Right, he does. As those carbon prices rise, those AI-driven emissions reductions actually start to save companies money.
So it becomes good for the environment and the bottom line.
Exactly. Sustainability isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do.
But even with all these solutions, it still feels like a really big challenge.
It is.
How do we make sure that AI is used responsibly and sustainably?
Especially with projects like Stargate pushing the limits of what's possible.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the conversation about transparency and accountability really matters.
Oh, yeah.
Schnepphat stresses that we need strong systems to track the environmental impact of AI, from training models to the emissions from those data centers.
Okay.
And that transparency needs to be across the whole system.
Yeah.
Tech companies, governments, consumers, everyone.
So it's really a shared responsibility that requires everyone working together and communicating openly.
It does, but there are also ethical implications to think about with this kind of rapidly advancing technology.
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole other conversation there.
There is, but for this particular episode, we're really focusing on the environmental impact.
Right, of course.
The stuff that Schnepphat lays out in his essay.
And I think he provides a really valuable framework for understanding those challenges and thinking about solutions.
He does.
We can't wait 10 years to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Not when these data centers are built and running, those 100,000 jobs are filled.
Yeah.
We need to think about the long-term consequences of what we're doing now.
Absolutely. And one of the key takeaways from Schnepphat's essay for me is that the future of AI, it's not set in stone.
Right.
It's something we're all creating together right now with the choices we make.
So it's not about feeling powerless. It's about realizing that we have a say in how AI develops.
Exactly. And even small changes can have an impact.
Okay.
Being mindful of our own digital footprint, choosing energy efficient devices, supporting companies that are committed to sustainability.
So taking action, even in small ways, and being part of the solution.
Exactly. So for our listener who may not be a tech expert but is interested in AI and its impact, what's the main takeaway?
Yeah, what's the one thing they should remember from all this?
I think the most important message is that AI is powerful, but it's not magic. It's up to us to make sure it's developed and used in a way that aligns with our values, especially our commitment to a sustainable future.
Right.
As projects like Stargate move forward, we all need to think about the future of AI and its relationship with the environment.
And that future isn't predetermined.
No.
It's something we're all creating together.
Right. It's a conversation that needs to happen everywhere, in our homes, in our communities, in our politics.
Yeah.
We have to talk about these issues and work together to find solutions.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into the Stargate Project and the whole complex world of AI and sustainability.
Yeah.
We hope this conversation has given you some new things to think about and maybe even a little bit of hope for the future.
It's been great exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise. And if you want to learn more, we've got links to Schnepphat's essay and other resources in the show notes.
Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
We'll see you on the next deep dive. Yeah. It really is a question we need to be asking ourselves.
It is. How do we want to shape our future with this technology?
Yeah.
And as Jörg-Owe points out, it's not just about coming up with some tech fix.
Right.
It goes deeper than that. It's about our values, our ethics, making sure that AI actually benefits humanity.
Right. It's a big responsibility.
It is a huge responsibility. And as we wrap up this deep dive into the Stargate Project and all its implications, I want to bring up one last thought from Schnepphat's essay.
Okay.
He talks about how this whole conversation around AI and sustainability often gets presented as this choice.
Right.
Like we have to pick one or the other.
Yeah, progress or the environment.
Exactly. And Schnepphat, he says we've got to get past that.
Right.
It's false dichotomy,
Yeah, we don't have to choose.
We don't. We can have both.
Right.
We can have technological progress and be responsible towards the environment.
It's not an either situation.
No, it's about figuring out how to integrate those two goals, how to create a future where AI is actually a force for good, not just driving innovation, but also making the world more sustainable and equitable.
And that's the real challenge, isn't it? Finding that balance.
It is. It's a tough one, but I think it's a challenge we have to face head on.
Yeah.
Because the stakes are just too high to ignore.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank all our listeners for joining us today on this deep dive into the Stargate Project and the complex world of AI and sustainability. We hope this conversation has sparked some new ideas and maybe even a little bit of hope for the future.
It's been great talking about all this with you.
Likewise. And for those of you who want to dive in even deeper, we've got links to Jörg-Owe essay and other resources in the show notes.
So check those out.
Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
See you on the next deep dive.